Well, I dropped the ball on that one. Hey, everyone, and welcome to the Band-Aid and Jenna Show. How's everyone doing? Each and every week we talk about mental health, and today's topic is mental health and losing a companion, which brings us to you, Jenna. How are you holding up?
So funny story. Well, it's actually not funny at all.
I don't think so either.
It's kind of a long story. I'll try to summarize it as best I can. Basically, so I've actually mentioned on last week's stream, I think he's a little sick. I'm going to watch him today, and if he's still acting like this tomorrow, then I'll take him to the vet. Well, turns out I was watching him all day, and he did not eat or drink anything all day long. And so I took him to the vet first thing Monday morning. I was there right when they opened, and because of COVID, they wanted me to leave him there till 4. I was like, what? All day I have to leave him here in a place. I've never left him alone before.
Right.
Especially in a new place with new people I don't even know. So anyway, I had to leave him there, which really, really got to me. So, so basically I picked him up, and the reason I picked him up was because they said, well, he has at least a UTI, which is fixable with antibiotics. But she said, but he's got more than that. She said he's very sick. And I was like, well, what do you think, it is? She said, well, I can't really say without more testing. Now my bill was already at $200 just to get where we were at. So then she wanted to run more blood work and do x-rays. And then after she found out, so I was like, okay, well, I can't really afford all that. So what if I come and pick him up and see if it's just a UTI, give him the antibiotics, see how he does, right? Because he said he's drinking now, something like that. Anyway, basically, she highly recommended that I leave him there. She said, if it's kidney failure, which told me she thinks it might be kidney failure, she said, then we have a matter of hours, like his kidneys could explode. I was like, well, that sounds expensive. That sounds painful. Apparently, according to some people in my family, it's like one of the least painful ways to go. But what I was witnessing, he was in pain. He would not move. He would not, I would bring him water, please drink something. I'd bring him water, and he would hover over it and then move away. And I could tell that it hurt too bad to drink water. So anyway, I did all that, picked him up, and they said, we just gave him an anti-nausea. If he, basically is very, very, very sick, and it probably was kidney failure based off of if this happens, then do this kind of thing that I'll turn down. So I brought him home and found out that it was probably kidney failure, and it was going to be really, really expensive. I had to bring him back. It was like life or death and immediate. And that's the biggest thing. It was so quick. It was so fast. I mean, he was running around the yard a week ago, or a week before. And
I can hear him right now.
So we'll get to that.
Yeah. So perhaps explain though that there is another cat there right now.
Yes, I have a new cat now. Okay. Well, I haven't even. Well, okay. Sorry, I'm a little scatterbrained. I've had a really, really bad week. Basically, we found out very quickly that he was in a lot of pain, and it was pretty bad. And so since we couldn't afford to bring him in for more work and surgery, there was no time for a GoFundMe. I had several people, wonderful people, try to start a GoFundMe or something. And I said, well, it's so fast. I'd have to have a guarantee of this amount, because I don't even have enough money to front it. I can't even just get paid back by GoFundMe. So I called up there the next morning, and I asked how would be the most humane way to help him go. So, because just watching him just be in that much pain was just, it was just killing me, and it was killing him. And So they said that the most humane way is to bring him in and let them euthanize him. And I said, okay, well, how much does that cost? Expecting it to be like around $500 or so. And they said it was $120. And I could bring him home and plant and bury him. So I brought him in a couple hours later. I cuddled with him as much as I could, and I got him to purr. He hadn't purred since Saturday. I got him to purr that morning and brought him in, and pardon me. I was with him the whole time, and we had to put him down. So I keep having, oh my God, it's traumatizing. I'm having flashbacks. Anyway, had a really rough week losing this companion. I've had him for 10 years. They said he was a year old when I got him. Puck had just met Mickey the week before, and he was happy. He was a sweet. He likes to go hide in the yard, and actually, now that I'm thinking back, he was a little lethargic. Anyway, that's the thing is this is what I keep doing is I keep thinking back and criticizing myself on, well, maybe I did this wrong, or maybe I did that wrong, or whatever. But so the next day,
I think you did everything you could.
What's up?
I think you did everything you could.
I think so. I really do. It's really hard not to blame myself, because he was only 11. Apparently, average lifespan is between 13 and 17 years old for a cat. So that was a little early. Thing is, I've learned from this. And the fact is that after doing some research and finding out more about cats getting UTIs and stuff like that, I've learned that I didn't take the best care of him. I mean, I loved him and we played and we had a great time and all that. But it turns out that with his, for example, like cleaning the water bowl every single morning, that wasn't something that had occurred to me to have to clean. I mean, I fed him every morning, I watered and it made all that, but I didn't clean the water bowl every morning, things like that. I realized I didn't take the best care of him. So while I keep going back and trying to criticize myself, I realized that I can't. What?
On that. So Band-Aid has a water fountain because from my understanding, that's better and helps lower the risk of getting those types of infections. How often do I need to be changing that? Because I right now change it a couple times, like twice a week, but do I need to change it more often?
I think if you have a water fountain, it's different. I actually just got I got the new cat a water fountain because I found that he really likes moving water. And so I got him that, and then it said to take it apart and clean it every 2 weeks. And I was probably gonna I don't know. I guess that's a good thing to look up.
Yeah.
Because I'm not sure how a water fountain compares to a water dish, because it's moving.
Comments knows or has a second to look it up, let us know.
But so anyway, where was I? What was I saying? Oh yeah, I was beating myself up. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for the reminder, Allison.
Basically, I realized that I can't get mad at myself for not knowing X amount of years ago what I didn't know X amount of years ago. I can only take what I know now and apply it to the future. So I can say, okay, well, I've learned some things that I've done wrong and some things that I can do better. And so now I have a new cat and I'm going to do it better with him. And basically I had tried to wait. So we're going to have a baby. Tried to wait to have a cat, a new cat till we could get a new routine going and all that. But I found that with the amount of grief that I was experiencing, like Monday morning, I did a meditation stream and you can see me crying and all that, but I was just worried. I didn't think he was going to be dead. And I didn't have to deal with him dying. That was just worry. So grief was a little bit different. And I intended to go the next morning to the Humane Society or the Pound or whatever you want to call it. And just play with some cats and get to know one, see if one and I could start bonding and I could bring one home later or whatever. But I called my partner and said, hey, I'm headed up to the shelter. And he said, well, honey, if you need to get a new cat, get a new cat. I was like, oh my God, really? So I was just, okay, let me see what they have. So they had one cat and his name was Lucky. And they said he's a couple years old. He's been there a few weeks. So maybe he's not so lucky. Haha. And I can't hear you right now. But so he was the only cat there, and he'd been alone for a few weeks, which broke my heart. Anyway, I walked in and we connected right away, like right away. Knew I wasn't coming home without this cat. And he's very, so watching him, having him to take care of has really, 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 really helped. And not in replacing Mickey. He doesn't replace Mickey at all. I still think all the time about, oh my God, Mickey used to do this and I miss Mickey now. And oh my God, he in no way replaces him.
Right.
But he gives that part of my brain that was dedicated to caring for Mickey, he gives that part of my brain something to do while I grieve, because that's another part of the brain. So yes, like Cindy says, he's a new friend to grieve with over my old friend. And that's the other thing, is I realized that cats, and he's not my like baby. He's not my child. I realized that I didn't say goodbye to an offspring. I said goodbye to a friend.
It is. It's like a best friend.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily offspring, but in a way, at least in my situation, I feel like I'm not undermining parenting. I know having a cat is not the same as having an actual human child.
Right.
But you feel, at least I do, like a parent to Band-Aid. Like I'm responsible.
You are a caretaker.
Right. Like he is like my best friend, but he's also my little baby that I need to, protect. My brother makes fun of me for being overly protective. Like he's trying to get me to let Band-Aid outside. I'm like, nope, not going to happen. I'll put him in, I have a cat carrier backpack. I'll put him in that and I'll take him for walks. I have an extension, like you know how parents have like on their bicycle, they have an extension for their child. I have one of those for Band-Aid. So I can
that's so
ride
cute. Around
with Band-Aid in the back.
Aww. So how did you introduce him to outside?
So he's curious. So he'll always like want to walk around. So first I brought him, like I tested it by bringing him on my arm. And I would just walk around and let him just snoop. I put him on a leash and went out front once, but he just plopped down and wouldn't move.
Don't like leashes.
No. And I was like, I don't really want him on the ground. And I was using the, what's it called? So I will not put unnatural flea treatment on my cats. We had one that died because of it. And apparently there are a lot of cats who have they get like chemical burns from flea. I forgot what it's called, flea prevention, like Frontline and that stuff. You're not familiar with this?
I had just given Mickey the first 4 doses of his first experience with Frontline because he had fleas, and I wanted to help him get rid of his fleas.
How long after?
A couple months.
I mean, that could just be a coincidence. But there's unfortunately a lot of animals that suffer as a result of those. Ours ended up with some neurological conditions, and like it sucked. And since then, I'm like, I can't. There's too many negatives and risks for me to do that. So I started using a natural one, and I'm trying to remember what it is. It's a powder. It's something. It's like, oh, this is going to drive me nuts. I will try and find out. But it's like a powder, and you just rub it into your cat's skin, and if they do have them, it basically kills them. But it's some type of. This is going to drive me nuts.
Oh, buddy. Man, Well, so that's the unfortunate thing is now I'll never know if it was the front line because I couldn't afford to run any of the other tests.
Right.
So we don't even know for sure that I was kidney failure. We just know from the symptoms.
Oh, there we go.
Devastating.
Food grade diatomaceous earth. That's what I was using. It's and then I also get for the yard I get they're called nematodes. And it's like I don't know, I don't want to say natural, but it's essentially you're putting a specific type of bug in your larva that grows and eats fleas. Now the downside to it is it does, if I recall, I don't know. You know what? I'm just gonna be careful on this topic right now because I just don't know enough, and I'm not gonna sit here and start recommending something that could be dangerous to someone's yard or another animal. So please don't start doing what I just suggested. Look into this stuff yourself.
And look into the frontline stuff too, like I'm going to as well.
Same. I'm. Please never take me as an expert. I am just some dude behind the camera. So,
yeah. We again, just as a little disclaimer, we are just peers who care about mental health and have discovered that coming into a new community, there's a lot of trauma going around, and it feels like so many people need help taking care of it beginning by talking about it. So in hopes of helping some people out who may not be able to afford therapy or don't have time or whatever, until you can get professional help, we are kind of just buddies to kind of vent to kind of expose and shine a big shiny light on some of these issues that we think are difficult to talk about, yet need to be talked about. And this way you can also kind of air out, expose your experiences. We can expose some problems here that have probably been just kept in the family for generations.
Right. And I'm all right. So we do have a caller, but in the first half of the show, I was freaking out because our lovely call screener, Kaitlyn, Beyond, sent me a message and says we're not getting audio. So I was just like, oh my God, I was trying to do it. And that's why, like, when I asked you if you could hear me, I was screwing with my mic settings, trying to find it. And I was like, and when you have an anxiety, you start thinking the worst. So I was like, oh my God, now all my shows are screwed. None of my shows are going to work. Tuesday's a call-in show. What am I going to do by then? And your brain just starts going down a rabbit hole. And it's hard to, like, you need to take a breath, but at times it's just hard to, because it's like this, with OCD, you fixate on that thought endlessly. So fortunately, it's been resolved. Whew. So, we can get to our caller.
Awesome. And just for those who are listening, it doesn't have to be a pet. It can be a friend. It can be a partner. It can be like people, friends. It can be really anyone.
All right. So we actually got two callers, but our first one is, you know what? Sorry, I'm actually going to bring Cindy on before Jesse, only because it looks like Cindy wants to comment on the frontline combo.
Okay.
Cindy, you are on with Jenna and Ethan. How are you?
Hey, Cindy.
Hi, doing okay. How about you?
Doing well.
Been better.
For those that notice, my background is different. I have officially moved. I basically yesterday tore down my studio, and then it was the first thing I put back up. I still need to get sound panels and do all that. My entire house is in boxes right now. So
slacker.
Sorry, the lighting sucks. It's probably going to take me a couple weeks till I can actually get it fixed, just because of everything I have to do. So I apologize if you'll see, it sucks. I don't think it looks professional, but I will get it fixed as quite
completely understandable, Ethan.
As quickly as possible. Cindy, go ahead.
So first, Jenna, I'm really, really sorry for what you went through. It was really, really heartbreaking.
Thank you.
So, yeah. I can say I'm with you because I only lost a kitten, what, 4 years ago. He was 9 months old, and it's not the same as the cat you had for 10 years. So, but I would just like to go back to this frontline combo discussion you had. And
Hey, Cindy, are you able to talk a
my two
little
cats,
louder?
yeah.
Or bring...
So my two cats, they go outside because I live inside some kind of residence, and so they can go outside without any risk of being hit by a car or something like that. So I let them out, and so I have to use something like that. And on the 4 cats I had that I let out, I always use this brand. I know we're not supposed to use brand, but this kind of products, I never had any problem with that. So, I mean, it could possibly be that this got something with your cat, but the probability is quite low. It's like any medicine with any human. There can be something going wrong, but it's quite rare usually. So please don't beat up yourself with that. It's hard enough for you, but don't. Yeah.
Okay. So you said it's how rare is it?
You did it. I'm sorry.
You said it's rare.
Yes. Yeah.
And just.
Do you have any other information?
Well, I'm just wondering how you know it's rare.
Because I asked advice with my vet before using it, and that's what he said.
Because what? I'm sorry? Oh, you researched this pretty well before?
I'm sorry, I can't hear you very well.
Yeah, Cindy, are you able to try another audio source and see if you can come back in? Because it's actually pretty bad on our end.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, Cynthia, if you can find another, I don't know if there's another device you could use, but it was kind of difficult.
Sorry, Cindy.
Okay, let's get to our original first caller. We've got Jesse. Jesse, you're on with Ethan and Jenna. How are you?
Okay.
Hey, Jesse.
Jenna, I just want to say that when I read your post about the cat a few days ago, I just had to stop doing everything, and it totally broke my heart. I sat down and I just had to cry. And I'm very sorry to hear that.
I'm sorry that you cried too.
Oh.
But thank you.
I've had several cats since 1975.
Hey, sorry, I don't know if this is my connection or if we're just having bad luck, but Jesse, it sounds like you're going in and out of the microphone. If you could, please make sure you're holding the mic directly to your mouth. And
I have it, because I know you've had problems with the other caller.
Can you hear okay, Jenna?
I can barely hear.
Yeah, it's and this is it's the same setup. So
I agree. It's like I want to like turn their audio up, but I don't know how.
Well, this sucks, Jesse. I'm gonna have to put you back on hold.
Yeah.
If you could let me know, like if it sounds as quiet on the air as it does the phone, because for us it's kind of hard to hear. You know what? Here, let's try. Allison, I know, usually has a good connection, so let's try that. Allison, you're on with Ethan and Jenna.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. Oh, Jenna, I'm so sorry to hear about Mickey.
Thank you.
It's such a heartbreaking experience to lose your friend, and kidney disease is a bitch, and it happens so fast. Like my first introduction to kidney disease was actually Grandpa Mason from Tiny Kitten. He had kidney disease, and they worked really hard to lengthen his life. And with all the around-the-clock care that they did, they managed to extend his life, I think, 2 and almost 3 years.
Oh, wow.
But that was, yeah, that was round-the-clock care, though. That was, like, they had a good team at the Mountain View Veterinary Hospital and that, so.
See, I mean, I don't know if I could afford round-the-clock care for myself for 2 years. You know, like.
No, dude, I wouldn't either. I've actually said if my health gets bad again, put me out of my misery.
Okay.
I am not gonna be I'll just feel like a burden. I mean, that's also a topic I would like to talk about someday, Jenna, is because for me it's frustrating because there are. Never mind. This is getting off topic.
I'll write it down. Sorry,
Allison. Sorry. What did you want to talk about?
So first for flea treatment and stuff, Capstar is the way to go. It's safe for kittens, cats, pregnant moms. So, and I think there's another one called Revolution that's also like I think it's a dewormer.
I like to. I'm sorry to cut you off, Allison. I'd like to try to avoid calling out any kind of particular medicines or anything like that, because the fact is that I don't think that any of us are qualified to be making that kind of assessment and sharing it like this. Do you agree?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Just to avoid any kind of liability.
Yeah, because the last thing we want is someone like listening to our show and then doing something and then being like, "But the Ethan and Jenna show said," and we're like, "No,
that's not what this show is for."
A very clear and safe distinction between medical advice and commentary on medical related subjects.
Yeah.
We are commentary, and we talk based on our own life experiences, but we can't risk someone getting medical information from our show.
Right.
Yeah, so check with your vet first and foremost. Is the advice that I would give, so and like it's frustrating because I understand the whole thing with going to the vet and being like, what's wrong with my cat? He's sick. I don't know what's going on. And they're like, well, the only way we know is to do tests, and those tests cost so much money, and it's so urgent. And I was in that position with my boy Blackie. He's losing weight, and I wasn't sure why, and he was having such a rough time, and I was having an equally rough time. I was just this was back a year ago. My panic attacks were just through the roof. My anxiety was just days on end, nonstop, and I was just exhausted. And I was having trouble leaving the house to go get the stuff that I needed to care for him, like new food and stuff. And I was just so scared. I was for him, and I was scared for me. And I was like, oh my God, what can I do? Because I couldn't really afford multiple visits to the vet to do a bunch of troubleshooting, right? To figure out what was happening to him and why he was losing weight. And he was also having litter box issues as well. And so I decided to reach out to a senior rescue. And after a conversation with them, we just decided that it was best to give him to the rescue. And they promised me they would nurse him back to health. And, the objective was to get him to a point where he would be able to be adoptable. And I was like, okay, as long as you let me, as long as you keep in touch with me and let me know what his, what his progress is, and and they're like, sure. So I gave him to the rescue, and they nursed him back to health. And then a few months later, they posted on Facebook his that he was available for adoption.
Oh
And
my
they
God.
changed his name to Bourne.
Oh,
To
like
Bourne?
Jason Bourne?
Yeah, like Matt Damon, like the secret agent.
That's funny.
So they started calling him the resident spy cat, which I thought was absolutely perfect for his personality, because he runs the house. And I always thought of him more of like a mob boss cat or like a gangster cat, but
That's how Mickey was.
secret agent.
Mickey was such a
Pardon?
boss. He was such, like, he cornered a pit bull once. Like,
Yeah, it was like, don't mess with me. I'm just like, he's always a big cat too.
So what ended up happening?
He got adopted in December.
oh my God.
And yeah, so, and like I haven't, like, the person who rescued him or who adopted him posted a picture, and it's a picture with him and another ginger cat. So he has a buddy, and I'm so happy.
That's good.
In the foster home, he was nursed back to health, and they determined that he has IBS. So
IBS sucks.
And he's on meds. Yeah, and that explains a lot of his woe. And so yeah, but it was really hard for me for a while, because it's the first time that I've actually been alone for, like, I had him for 15 years, right? And he's 16 when I gave him to the rescue, and then he turned 17, and he would be 18 now.
Wow.
Sorry, what?
No, I just I hope Band-Aid lives at least that long. We do have another caller. We got to wrap up here in a moment. Is there anything else you wanted to say, Allison?
Yeah, just Jenna, once again, and I'm sorry, and it's grief just like any other friend, and Ethan, Band-Aid is your boy. He is loyal to you. I can totally tell. Like,
yeah, he's definitely my baby. Like, we are becoming attached at the hip. Like earlier today. Okay, we're in a 2-story house with a finished basement. So I don't know if that's considered 3 or whatever. And I was down here, and then I walked upstairs, and next thing I know, like, he's crying and looking for me. And I'm like, Band-Aid, like, the house is big, man. I'm here. And right when I, like, yelled him, he came running up and was, like, instantly purring. So yeah, he's clearly got attachment issues. And now that's the other downfall. I don't know if I'm going to be able to sleep elsewhere anymore, because before, if I slept the night somewhere else, there was my brother and nephew home for him to annoy. And my brother called me the one morning. He goes, next time you spend the night elsewhere, your cat's going outside. I'm like, what happened? Band-Aid apparently the whole night. Right, so he makes this cry noise, like this, boo. And apparently he was doing that all night, scratching on the garage door
Oh.
down, and they like my nephew's a sound sleeper. He even woke my nephew up. Like they couldn't get him to stop crying. I forgot where I was going with that. Anyways, yeah. So
He's your sucky baby.
Yeah,
he loves you.
Right. So
He's
now it's
devoted.
like I don't know what to do if I do have to leave the house. Is he going to be okay since there's nobody here? Which is why I do kind of want to get him a cat buddy, but I don't know how he'll react because he has
I don't think that'll be a good idea.
Right.
Do you have a room to set up, make it like a cat room just for him, like put a little house in there and tents and scratching posts and stuff, and
I do want to start doing that.
And then when you go out,
sorry,
you could put him in, like when you go out, you could just put him in his room, if it like maybe have a radio in there for him. I don't know, like.
Well, I definitely can't lock him in a room. So the second,
just to make it available, just to dedicate it.
I plan on like even down here. I want to build like those. What are they called? It's basically like shelves for cats. So steps along the wall, so they can like run along and play.
Right.
I want to eventually do that for him, so he has plenty of places to run around.
That's a really good idea. I want to do that too.
I want to get him like a buddy because I think he needs someone to play with. I just don't know, like it can't be a male, that's for sure, because he always has to show he's the alpha in all
scenarios. It can't be a kitten.
Yeah. So, someone's my friend had said to me that getting a small young female kitten, because he won't view it as a threat, he won't necessarily get aggressive. But I don't know.
I don't know about that because like I thought Blackie needed a girlfriend, so I got a little girl cat, and she was just the sweetest little thing ever, so chatty. But the thing is that it was all about her, and she had to be the center of everything. And she would get jealous, and she would get angry if Blackie came near or whatever, and then Blackie was just like, oh, screw this. And so they would get into fights, and he would aggravate her on purpose because he knew that he could, and he was such a brat. But
well, I mean,
Mickey
was a lot like it sounds like you're describing Band-Aid as, and I actually just was just going to house sit. I was just going to babysit a baby kitten for a friend while she went out of town for a couple days, and my cat Mickey a few years ago and this baby kitten being exposed to each other. I don't know if we just did it wrong. But the kitten ran away and we couldn't get her back. Like she ended up living amongst the apartment complex. Like it was nasty.
Oh, wow.
Like I've never seen my cat so vicious. So I would say if you do get a kitten, then maybe that would be your best bet. But I would bring Band-Aid somehow. I would involve Band-Aid in the selection process somehow. I definitely wouldn't just bring the cat home to Band-Aid and be like, here's my new friend.
Right.
Because that's how it would look to him.
Yeah, introductions are everything.
Yeah, like you almost want to have like somebody bring the cat to you while you're with Band-Aid and introduce you while you're like reassuring Band-Aid. I don't know. I'm not a psychologist or anything.
Well, we've got a few more callers. We do got to wrap up here. So Allison, thank you so much for calling.
Yeah, no problem. It's always awesome to speak with both of you. I just really like calling in and putting my 2 cents in, I guess.
I like hearing it.
Sounds good. Thank you, Allison.
Big hugs to you both, and I'll talk to you later.
All right. Bye-bye.
You too, Allison. Thank you.
Bye.
I'm going to be able to give Jenna an in-person hug in just 5 days or 4 days, 5 days.
5 days.
It's going to be so wild, dude.
And so next week, we're going to be streaming from the same room.
Yep.
For the first time.
That'll be pretty cool.
That's going to be pretty epic. So we have to really pick a really cool topic for next week.
Yeah.
somehow applies. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Okay, cool. We should wait. We'll try Jesse again. Hopefully it's been worked out. We'll see. Jesse, go ahead and try saying something.
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 Okay. Right now it sounds good.
I think you're fine.
Okay. Now, I kind of wanted to talk about what his name is.
No,
Nope, it's getting quiet again.
I
It's like
can't hear
it's almost
anything.
like you're pulling the mic away. It sounds like.
Okay, this better?
Mm-mm.
Unfortunately, no. Do you have another device?
Hold on a sec. Hold on.
Apologize, everyone, for the
about
audio
now?
issues.
Is this any better?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I took my phone off speakerphone. That was a problem.
That's the problem.
All right. The cat that I'm calling you about, his name was Hercules.
Oh.
Now I got him. I found him actually in the cats that I had at the time. I had 4 cats at that time, and he was the cats started dying about 10 years ago, and he was the last survivor. The way that I found him was that I was out calling another cat, and he was a younger cat, and he came running towards me. And he would come and hang out with me for a few hours every day, and I brought him inside. And somebody else had bought him actually on the in the neighborhood, but he would come over and basically be mine for that time. But he was an indoor and outdoor cat at the time, so it wasn't like I stole him.
Right.
But he would just hang out with me, and he chose me. And then it was several years later.
Wait, are you saying that you found a cat that was indoors and outdoors and you don't know where it came from, but you took it home?
Well, no, it was from the neighborhood, and my cats at the time that I found him were indoor outdoor cats. Now, several years, he basically chose me. So he was.
Well, I don't know what that means. He chose me.
He hung out with me more so than he pretty much came in and started living with me.
But more than who?
What's that?
He hung out. He chose you over who?
The people that bought him. Well, I didn't know him. They were pretty much not part of the picture anymore.
You're sure of this?
What's that?
Sorry, just to try to. I guess, did you take the cat from somebody?
No, not at all.
Okay.
Not at all.
I'm sorry. I'm not trying to call you out or anything, but that is kind of what it sounds like. I hope that we can just clarify.
No, I didn't at all. He basically just started hanging out with me. He was an outdoor cat. He was an indoor and outdoor cat. And he just started to come over and just hang out basically with me, more so than anyone else. So at the time, basically, he chose me. And it wasn't like I stole him from anyone at all.
I'm not sure how I feel about that.
So if right now I started letting Band-Aid outside, and he once a day went over to the neighbor's house and hung out there every single day.
Or a couple times a day.
Or a couple times a day. Does that mean that neighbor could then take the cat because the cat chose to go over there?
No, it wasn't like that at all. It was
okay. Then maybe we're misunderstanding. We just need a little bit more information because that's what it sounds like.
Okay. The thing is, he started. He basically came to stay with me all the time. He was staying with me all the time.
But
What
did
does
the
that mean specifically? Like, are you saying that the cat came over to your house in the morning and just would never leave, like refused to leave? Like, is that what you're saying?
Basically, for all intents and purposes, yes.
Basically, for all intents and purposes.
so did the owners of the cat know you kept the cat?
Yes, pretty much.
Did they or not?
Well, they
Like,
had.
did you have a conversation? I'm sorry, we're
They
not
had
trying
kids
to accuse you of
around.
anything here. We're just literally just trying to understand the situation, because if it is what I think it sounds like you're saying, I feel uncomfortable having this discussion. But I'm assuming that it's not what I think what it sounds like. So I'm hoping we can just get more specific information to clarify, so that we don't misunderstand you.
Basically, I just want to say, like, Band-Aid could go over to the neighbor's house every single day. And that doesn't mean that they're allowed to take Band-Aid away from me.
Right, like my Mickey I would let him out routinely in the morning, and he would disappear for a couple of hours. Now, granted, I could go out and call him and he would come back, but that was my decision to go out and call him if I did. So if I'm wondering, if I didn't go out and call him as regularly as I did, and I had a neighbor who thought the same thing, would I just have not gotten Mickey back one day?
Well, the thing is, when you call him, he would come back.
Because he could hear me.
Okay, but this cat.
But if he didn't come back one day, if I called him and he couldn't hear me for whatever reason, and he didn't come back one day, and it turned out that I had a neighbor that had been hanging out with him during the day, and that neighbor, for whatever reason, felt entitled to take him. What I'm wondering is, did you have a conversation with this person and make very, very clear? Because when you say sure, that doesn't sound like a clear agreement between two people, you know?
The cat was free to go back. I had my fiance at the time that thankfully I never married, had kids that were friends with the kids that were part of the family that owned the cat, and they never said anything about it. And
did you give them an opportunity to?
Like, was there a very clear, hey, I've got your cat, and if you want him back, let me know?
Yes.
Okay. Well.
Okay.
Good.
Yes. Yeah, it was perfectly clear. There was no mistaking it. So I did not steal the cat.
Okay. Well, all right, sure.
Okay, so let's.
No, what's the story? Sorry, I'm sorry that if that was uncomfortable or anything. I really feel uncomfortable airing a story if we felt like something immoral had happened.
Yes.
Just, according to Ethan and my standards, not according to any objective whatever, just. So please share with us what you.
I assure you that from all angles there was no two ways about it.
Okay.
It's definitely my cat. Everything is on the up and up there.
All right.
All right. So yeah, let's finish the story, because then we got a couple more callers. Where were we at?
Are we good there?
Yeah, we're good. Let's move on.
Okay. What happened was that when he died, I was so distraught because I live by myself, and he was the last cat that I had, and it was just I was heartbroken, and after he died, I had to wait. I mean, I know I wanted another cat, but I had to wait several months because I still hadn't properly mourned him. And for, I remember for several months I was like really crying and like every day, and I just was like I couldn't bring myself to get another cat,
Right.
Oh,
and had to take him to get euthanized at the vet, and that was probably the only cat that when it was euthanized, I held him. I mean, I laid down on the table and I held him, and I thanked him so much for being part of my life as he passed. I mean, it was, for the next few months, it was just awful.
I'm sorry.
And, yeah, thanks. But I mean, it's, living by myself, I need to have that companionship.
oh yeah.
And, then I got another cat that, lived with me for 15 months and was fabulous. And that cat had some sort of disease, and that cat died. And I got another one now, and she's doing well. She's okay. She's my COVID buddy.
Well, cats are, I love cats. I prefer them to dogs. In fact, I think cats are the official mascot of the atheist community. But yeah, Jesse, it really can be difficult dealing with the loss of a pet, and at times hard to recover from something because it's like a piece of you is missing. But
they're a family member.
Exactly.
Well, and that's what I had learned going through basically what sounds like the same thing, was realizing how much of my mind he occupied, how much I was paying attention to little noises here and there. If he was where he was, how he was, if he was outside and for how long and how often, and if he had been eating enough, if he was eating too much, if he needed a new toy. There's always so many things going through your brain about how to take care of this animal or whatever.
You almost said person.
Yeah. I mean, there's a personality for sure.
Yeah, you almost said person. It's got like occupies the same amount of space in your mind as a person,
or it's just like different. See, that's the thing is it's different. So the way that I had viewed my cat before I became an atheist and the way that I had viewed him after were almost black and white differences. Like, I was raised to have a pet. It is something that you have, and it is your responsibility to control it. And you are to control every single piece of its life and all of this. And it is to honor you. And, go down the chain of father, mother, child, whatever. Then there's the pet, right? It's on its chain of command. And I always looked at my cat as something that should obey me, something that should do what I wanted when I said. And when I became an atheist and started viewing creatures and people and animals, everything just in a different way, I started to realize that he is his own creature. He has his own desires. He has his own comfort level preferences. And, he likes routine and all this. And so I started treating him differently and giving him the freedom to do what he wanted. And if he wanted to go outside, yes, there's the thought in my mind that I'm like, well, there's owls, there's coyotes, there's so much danger. And for my cat, just how badly he needed to go outside. He made it very, very clear to me how important it was to him to go outside. I let him, and I have to believe that it's not my job. It's not my job. I don't know. Ethan, what do you think? Is it your job to control your pet, or is it your job to comply and be like a team?
So I think I don't think, I hate the word control, because I would say more, I don't even want to say discipline, but yes, you should train or get your cat to avoid any bad habits or anything that could be harmful. But no, I don't think, I think that's one of the issues my former partner had with Band-Aid is she couldn't control him. And to her, when you own like the animal, they have to do what you say. And I'm like, that's just not how it works. You're not going to get a cat to do what you say. And just because your cat doesn't listen or is an asshole, as Band-Aid was, doesn't mean you get rid of them. Like, to me, it's a commitment. And I get actually incredibly frustrated when I see people who get cats or dogs and then just get rid of them right away. It's like they didn't think it through. And it's
God, just think about the trauma that does to that animal.
Right. Like bringing them into somewhere loving and then just being like, see you later. Like,
just kidding.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't imagine. Like, for me, I think I highlighted this before, but if I haven't, my relationship after 12 years, while it was already in the shitter, came down to one final thing: Band-Aid. And it was either Band-Aid gets put down or we're done. And well, as you can see, Band-Aid's still here. So
I was gonna say, oh well, so long.
Yeah, like, dude, Band-Aid's my guy, man.
Band-Aid would never give you an ultimatum.
He would not. And it's
funny. Well, actually, if you bought another kitten, I'm just kidding.
That's true. But a girl on a dating app had said, how attached are you to your cat? Because I'm really interested in you, but I'm allergic, so I figured I'd ask. I'm like, I said, I ended my marriage over my cat. Do you think I'm going to give him up for a random person on a dating app? Like, never going to happen.
Exactly. Don't even think about it.
Yeah. Band-Aid and Ethan are a package deal. They go everywhere together. They don't go.
Lucky is becoming that very quickly for me.
Yeah, exactly. Hashtag Team Band-Aid. Anyways, Jesse, anything else you want to say? Because we do have a couple more callers we got to get to.
No, that's basically it.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Sorry for the confusion and us wanting to clarify everything that was said. And again, apologies for the audio issues, but thank you so much for calling in.
Yeah, and I wanted to say thank you, and I'm sorry to. No, it's fine. But because we are not here to dictate what's moral or immoral. We are not here to tell people what's right or wrong. And when it comes down to what I felt was pretty uncomfortable at the beginning of that call for me was because it's not my job to make a decision on whether it was, let's say, even if Jesse did steal that cat, it's not my job to say that that's wrong, because who knows, that he could have been rescuing it from a completely miserable life. I mean, I don't know. Point is, I just wanted to zero in on the fact that has brought something up that Ethan and I will probably need to chat about later on how we handle that kind of thing going forward. So I don't want anybody to think that we're going to be putting anybody under any kind of awkward scope for sharing their stories with us. We really want to hear your stories. We really want to give you the platform that you feel you need. I just really want to be careful about what it seems or what it comes off like we're endorsing, just because Ethan and I both have such really, really, really big hearts, and we would feel so horrible if something bad happened, if anything bad happened because of us.
Yes.
So that's
Dude,
it. So.
I live with enough guilt. I don't need to live with more.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to have to get some kind of, anyways, Jesse, thank you so much.
Okay, you're welcome. Take care.
You too.
Thanks, Jesse.
Does anyone know of like, I need like some type of scratch guard because for the stairs, because Band-Aid keeps like on the bottom step going to scratch the carpet. And if he's already doing that, he's going to end up ripping up the carpet and I can't have that. So if anyone has like scratch type guard for steps, I would appreciate putting it in the comments.
I wonder if there's some kind of like deterrent, like an odor deterrent that you can put at that spot.
Ooh.
And also come up with some kind of like put catnip on a special scratching post nearby kind of thing.
Right. Or maybe I have a scratching post, but maybe I need more scratching posts. But,
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, little stinker.
Our babies.
Yeah. And that's the thing though. Kent, I don't know how I would live without Band-Aid, man. That would be that's going to be a rough future. And that's the other thing. Like, it's hard not to think about things like that. Like, oh my God, I'm going to lose him one day. This is going to be horrible. It's going to be the worst day ever. And you get fixated on that. And it's really hard not to think about it.
Well, that's part of what I wanted to highlight was that I had that thought many times over the 10 years that I had Mickey, and I would think, oh my gosh, he's getting older, right? I'm going to have to say goodbye one day. And the fact is that I realized that I didn't want to spend the remainder of his life stressing about not having him, because I would have plenty of time to cry about not having him after he was gone. So instead, I tried to just turn into more of a mindful thing, just be grateful for every day kind of thing.
All right. Do you want to get to our next caller?
Yeah.
Let's see if we can get, before you to IQ, let's see if we can get Cindy's audio working. Cindy.
Yeah, sorry about that, Cindy.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yay!
Yep, that is better.
Yes.
Okay, so
Cool. I can hear you better too.
perfect. Okay, so we left off with Jenna was saying, like, how rare is it? And that's where we were having how rare is it to have a negative side effect from frontline?
And not from frontline specifically, from
treatments,
from generic flea treatment.
So it depends on the molecule they use. I went and took the paper that goes with my box of frontline, and so the molecule they use is fipronil. And so they say that.
Can you put it in the chat, the molecule that you're talking about, just so that people can, just because it sounds.
Fipronil, Fipronil.
Yeah, if you could put that on the chat.
Just because of the language difference, just so that people can see it. I know I'm a visual person. I need to.
Yes.
Yeah. So this specific medicine says that do not use on sick animals, whether they have a systemic disease or fever. So that's a counterindication written on the paper that's within the box of the medicine. So
that might have been what I did wrong.
When you don't know your cat is sick, what can you do?
Take him to bed?
You didn't. Yeah, you. If that's what happened, you didn't know. I know.
Oh my God, I didn't. But
that's my point. You didn't know. If you don't know your cat is sick, you have no idea of knowing.
I should have taken him to the vet. I'm sorry. I'm just beating myself up. I need to stop.
Sorry, Jim.
Yeah, no, don't do that.
You did the best you could with the information.
Also, I wanted to come back to the mental health part of this, and I was thinking about what you could do to help grieving with your cat, and maybe trying to paint him would be great for you. That's what I was thinking.
Trying to what him?
To paint him.
Oh, paint, like carrot noise.
Oh. Yeah. So yeah. I posted a picture on Facebook of new kitty, Lucky, right, to show how happy he was, because he's already claimed a chair and he was all curled up in it. And I had taken a picture and I posted on Facebook, and in the picture, you can see just behind him in my living room, I have a painting that I had done of Mickey in 2013 of Pinot's Palette. Has anybody ever heard of like Pinot's Palette, or like painting with a twist, or just like where it's like that new concept that they're doing? I don't know if they're doing it anywhere besides America, but where they're getting people together to paint something and drink, or just hang out and paint together. Anyway, that's like a thing here. And so I painted Mickey almost like 8 years ago. And so, yeah, I have a picture of him up. So I absolutely have that on my list. I definitely want to paint Lucky at some point. Yeah, that's a very good idea, Cindy. Thank you.
But I wasn't thinking of doing it during current noises. I think it's something you have to do by yourself in a quiet place, just to remember him and paint him like that.
Well, I mean, I might do carrot noises. That actually might make it kind of memorable. But yeah, that's a really good idea.
Well, Cindy, anything else you wanted to touch base on before we get to our last caller?
Yeah, just one quick point about this idea of getting a Band-Aid a new friend. So my older cat is 2 years old. His name is Simba, so he's a male, and I had the same sensation as you had, that he felt lonely when I was away. So I took in a female kitten, and it went really great between the two of them. They play all the time. It's really, really nice to see them going so well. The problem is, it's like with humans. You can't know if someone will be a friend or not. You can't know if you will like them or not. It's a flip of the coin. You know, you can't know earlier if it's going to go well. However, picking a small kitten increases the chances a little bit, because the kitten will adapt his behavior to the cats already present in the house, and the cat and Band-Aid will be able to teach the kitten how he wants to behave, which he won't be able with an adult cat.
That's true, and Band-Aid does like to run the show. To give you an example, anytime. This wasn't often, but anytime I had at first I thought it was just girls, but it wasn't. It's only women I was interested in. He would go just crazy, and he would start to show off. It's almost like he's like there's some type of threat. So what he would do is he would grab his stuffed little animal, kitty, he would put it in his mouth, walk into the front room where they're at, and start humping it and beating it up in front of them. Then he'd pace around them, around the couch. And it was only women I was interested in. If I wasn't interested in, he was friendly as can be.
So you might be able to get a new cat as long as you're not interested in it.
Yeah. Wait, all right.
No, as long
Cindy,
as
I'm not sure if we're on
that the cat is for him and not
Cindy,
for
sorry,
you.
Cindy. Are we on speakerphone? Because I'm hearing mine and Jenna's voice back.
No, I plugged my earplugs, so you shouldn't be hearing it.
Jenna, you don't have a speaker. Okay. It's occasionally popping up. Okay. Anyway, sorry, Cindy, I'll let you finish real quick.
Yeah. So what I was saying is that if you take another cat, you need to make sure you don't show that he's going to take his place, Band-Aid's place. You need to show him that the cat is for him and not for you, at least at first. That's, in my opinion, the only thing you can do to increase the chances.
Right. Yeah. Well, I think I will maybe be trying a new kitty out. Cindy, thank you so much for calling in and speaking with us. And also, Cindy, where can people check you out at?
So you can look at my channel, which is The Path to Reason. I have small episodes of about 20-15 minutes, or longer ones with guests to tomorrow night I have a debate. I will put the link on my Facebook page. And so that's it.
Great.
Thanks again,
Thank you,
and Jenna,
Cindy.
I'm really sorry for your loss, and I really hope that you will get better.
Thank you, Cindy.
Thank you, Cindy. Hope you have a good day.
Yeah.
So far, the only thing that's actually, I mean, it's so funny. Like right after God saying goodbye, like I didn't want to talk to anybody. I didn't want to, like, that's what a pet is for, is when there are no words, you know, that's who you go to, because there were no words. And so again, while Lucky doesn't replace Mickey, he is a really good cuddle buddy.
I wish Band-Aid was a better cuddle buddy. He'll lay on me or lay between my legs, but he's never really cuddled with me.
Well, you know what? Actually, so what kind of cat is Band-Aid? Because he looks like a tabby mix.
You know, I would actually have to.
But I don't know.
Let me text my ex real quick. She always knows this stuff.
I'm not huge on cat breeds. I'm just taking notes, and obviously this is actually probably one of the worst ways to do it, is just based off of my personal experiences. But so far, tabbies seem to be very, very energetic, and it seems like orange cats are really friendly, really cuddly, and it seems so that cats that look like your cat. So your cat, the way that he has like the tabby stripes and then the rest is white, that's the same kind of cat that Lucky is, only instead of gray, he's got orange. So it's kind of funny how actually he's not
Lucky.
Oh, well, I don't want to force him in front of the spotlights the first week that I have him. I'm trying to give him his space to get used to the whole house and the new smells and sounds and everything. But you will all meet him very soon. If you really want to see a picture, go to my Facebook page. But so he's got little tiny pieces of Mickey on him, right, with the orange, which is, it's actually kind of freaky. But then the white part of him reminds me of Band-Aid, and I'm noticing that he's a little bit more. Is a lot like Mickey, but he's a little bit more kind of timid and like dainty almost. And while he really likes to be touched and pet, he hasn't cuddled with me yet. So he might actually not. He's let me hold him a couple times, and I'm not sure if he just has some warming up to do, and he will cuddle with me. I don't know. But Mickey cuddled with me right away, and Lucky hasn't yet. So it's interesting. I'm kind of taking notes here and there of like, well, certain cats just don't like to cuddle, and certain cats, you know. I'm not sure if it's personality to personality or breed to breed. I guess I'm really just rambling.
Hey, that's okay. That's what we're here for.
Yeah. Anyway.
Okay, let's get to our last caller. We have got. I'm going to ask you two to vamp for a moment while I step away. But okay. IQ, you're on with Jenna.
That's you.
How are you?
First things first, can you hear me okay?
Yes. I'm so IQ, let me tell you how much of a relief it was, because I was just like, dude, all I could think about is all the shows we do together. And I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do if the call-in stops working. Like, that would immensely suck. But it's definitely, I need to find additional means and set it up other ways. So in case something happens, I have a backup in place. I need to learn like how the ACA does.
It's always great to have a contingency plan with everything that is critical to something that you do or enjoy.
Yes,
always a backup plan.
The ACA does do like a safety copy kind of thing that they start 5 minutes before we start recording.
Right.
For exactly that. For if something
were to. How Ethan do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like the backup, there is a way to. The streams themselves are safe, but the issue is the audio lines. So I do something very different. Like I basically do a really cool workaround for my call-in shows. But other people, when they do them, they basically have to have a big external mixer and use OBS Studio and do a lot more. Me, I just put in a virtual mixer, which sends the audio back into itself. And it all goes through StreamYard. So it's not a heavy load on my PC. So knock on wood, my PC like never maxes out.
Well, if that happens, I've got a visual audio board thing that a friend gifted me that I have yet to learn to use. And once I do learn to use it, it will be able to contribute.
Before you start, I want to get to
to
this,
look at all that,
Allison,
look at every
real
single
quick.
step that you take.
1 second, IQ.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So, Allison says, Ethan and Jenna Show, do you cuddle your kitty when you cry? It's very comforting, and their fur is super absorbent. No, I've kind of held him close or laid next to him, but I don't cry on him. He'd probably get pissed at me.
Same. My cats, from my experience, once they realize that they're getting wet, they're not happy.
Wow. Okay. Give me one moment.
I'm sure it depends
Please
on the
continue.
temperaments of the cat, of course.
Yeah. All right, IQ. It's you and me for now.
All
IQ.
right.
Sorry.
Well, am I holding on for a second? Or
Nope.
what's going on here?
We are taking over for a minute while he goes and takes care of Bambi.
Gotcha. Okay, here we go. Now, we're talking about loss, right? That's the ultimate thing. This ties into so much of our lives. We gain things. We gain the trust of others. We gain love. We acquire things. And when you become comfortable with this is what your life is. When you lose any of that, it's a big hit to everything you are, because everything you love is part of who you are. So when you lose something like that, it's detrimental, because you're losing part of yourself.
Yeah. And
I have to put out there that though it is technically part of you, because you are the culmination of every experience that you've ever had. And when that changes, you are essentially losing a part of yourself. But how you became that person is that you acquired the things that you lost. You will acquire more. You will always adapt, and you will always be there to grieve what you have lost and to cherish what you've replaced it with. You can never replace a particular cat or a particular person in your life.
Right.
What you can do is replace the hole that they were in with something that is equally enjoyable, and cherish the memories that you have.
And if you were to be the person that's being replaced for whatever reason, wouldn't you want that person to have something to fill that void?
Yeah. Well, where we run into problems is what type of mental state that all this creates. And, with loss, it's an undoubted amount of the technical term for repetitive thinking. Like you were talking about, you just keep thinking of what you could have done, the coulda, shoulda, woulda things. The technical term for that is called rumination. And it's when you go back in your head and you're thinking of everything, and the scenes are just replaying in your head, and you're thinking of, you've just lost a loved one, and, you're constantly thinking of all the memories that you have. And when there's different types of loss, if there's a death, it's way different than if you're going through a breakup or divorce, versus losing a cat. They're all different types of loss, but underneath it all is you only really lose what you're clinging to. And we cling to that which gives us happiness. And it's really difficult to take that happiness and switch it to something else. Everything that you ever have, or ever will have, you're going to lose. One day you're going to need to say goodbye to yourself. When we get the chance to say goodbye, it's good, because that closure.
IQ. So when you say goodbye to yourself, can you really say goodbye to yourself?
To that version of yourself?
Well,
right?
No, I'm talking about death.
Yeah.
Eventually, you will lose everything. And you have to understand this going into it, is that, nothing you ever experience or love in this world is going to be permanent.
Correct.
And you have to, get a handle on this. And a lot of us, we know death, we know we're going to die someday, but it's like, it's a someday thing. That's where you can get into trouble.
Right.
It's because it's tomorrow, and it's never now. When it is now, it sucks.
Well, if you think about it as being now, then
tomorrow
you just
isn't always going to be tomorrow. You broke up a little bit. What was that?
I was saying, if you think about it too much, like so many people, it seems like a double-edged sword. Like you either think about it all the time and it just depresses you and consumes you, or you never think about it, and then when it happens, it consumes you. So it's almost like, how do you balance that out? How do you address it enough without addressing it too much?
The different types of rumination. There's concrete rumination, is where you are stuck, like not really stuck, but you're in a loop of critically examining something that has observable facts and things that actually happened, and things that you can go back to, things that you can show, things that you can, just things that you can show that are objectively verifiable. That's concrete rumination, is where you go over and you fine tune and you start cutting out all the bullshit, and you're like, okay, and you actually work your way through it. And that is the positive side of rumination. Now, abstract rumination is when you get stuck into a loop. You're going through a breakup, and all you're thinking about is the good times that you had, and you're a hot mess, right? And you're just jumping from thought to thought to thought, never really spending enough time on one thing to actually get some closure, or to actually get some sort of just be able to get past it, to have some sort of conclusion.
Right.
That is the abstract rumination that we all run into, that we experience most of the time when it comes to loss, is that we're thinking of what could I have done? What should I have done? Whereas when you switch to concrete rumination, you're like, okay, what's the reality? What can I do? What do I have to work with?
Is abstract rumination more reactive and concrete rumination more? Oh, how would you put that?
No, yeah. The abstract rumination is typically more emotionally fueled, whereas concrete rumination is more on the logical side and the cognitive side, where you're actually going over everything. It may replay a lot of times, but you're able to make progress because you're thinking about it in a rational sense. You're not saying, I could have done this, and because there's no way to change anything about the past. All you're doing is just reliving a moment instead of looking at the facts, gathering everything that is workable and trying to do something with it. Yes, the thought keeps going through your head, but at least you're not just hitting the replay button time and time and time again, just keeping making cuts in your your well-being. I myself have spent the past 2 weeks getting my heart ripped from my chest, shit on, and then stuck back in my chest upside down. I'm not going to go into my situation right now. I can't.
I'm sorry,
but
IQ.
I'm in a pretty shitty spot, which is why nobody's seen much of me, because I had to turn my fucks off. And that you don't want to deal with IQ with his fucks off.
Yeah.
I'm sorry you're going through that, man.
But I have all this in my head, and I know how to stay in concrete rumination, look at the facts. I know how I feel about stuff. I know things hurt. I know when they hurt. I know why they hurt, and it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to be hurt. It's okay to cry. Let that shit out. Never deny yourself, those emotions, but do not let them control you, because you need to be able to kick back into your logic sense and, okay, where am I at? Who exactly am I? What am I doing? Is there something I need to apologize for? Is there something somebody else needs to apologize for? And if they're not going to, fuck it. You go through everything. All right, what's really happening? And that's the concrete rumination that I need to instill in people, is that you will make it past it. You just need to keep your head out of your ass. That's just how it is, because you will bully yourself if you get the chance when it comes to loss.
You were making You are connecting so many dots for me right now that I'm literally having to like draw it. You're saying, so please clarify. So basically there's this kind of rumination that's more responsive. It's more reactive. It's more emotional and less thought out, less logical. And that is kind of the kind of that just consumes you, right? Which that sounds like emotions, something emotions do. Then there's the other kind of rumination, which is logical, thought out. Oh, this makes me feel bad. So does it make sense to obsess over this, right? And you kind of logic yourself in or out of it and keep it going or not. But it also seems from my experience over the past week of starting off in that abstract rumination zone and literally 24 hours later, being able to put myself in that concrete zone. And the only thing that could help get me to that concrete zone so quickly was having a new pet, a new friend to fill that space, right? Not replacement, but to fill that space. So it seems like when you have that space, that open void, that's what causes your lack of control over the abstract rumination obsession. And so it almost seems like it makes sense to have something like, for example, a rebound, right? Something to kind of like a placeholder so that you can logic yourself through it. Correct? Does it sound like I'm making any sense to you?
Oh, yes. And I'm going to pull out a word here that everybody can identify with that is going to, I'm not sure if it's going to want to be one of those, mind blow moments, but it's really going to connect a lot of dots for you. Addiction.
Yep. That's where I was going too. You have to replace it with something.
Everything that you lose, everything that you have in your life that makes you feel good, life makes anything that has to happen feel good, right? Eating, sex, sleep, and there's a reward center for things that need to happen. There's a lot of added benefits to a lot of this. You don't need the stuffed animal, really. And you think of need in two different senses too, physically and psychologically. Psychologically, it's a whole different ballgame. There's things that you do not physically need that you psychologically need. You will survive without them, but not upstairs. You will not be healthy upstairs if you do not have a certain amount of emotional stimulation. And it's when those things are taken away, you go through a psychological mode of withdrawal. And that's a lot of the pain. Somebody takes a lot of opiates for a long time, they get addicted to it, and it just gets ripped from their life. They're going to feel like they're dying. There's a lot of more physical aspects, and it's different than going through a breakup, of course, because they're two different things. But in your brain, it's the same mechanisms that are ripping apart. And when you can take the stuff that hurts and know that I am just going through withdrawal from love, I'm going through withdrawal from convenience. You are lacking dopamine. So when you take that new cat and you put it in the spot that was causing this withdrawal, that takes the withdrawal symptoms out. So you're never replacing that other cat, and you still mourn over that other cat, but you have that hole is now filled, and you're able, the concrete rumination is able to take over, and you're able to logically get past the situation because you don't have that withdrawal anymore. And that's a big step when it comes to loss, is not replacing the people, covering up the pain. And I'm pretty sure you guys are about to wrap it up.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say is, Jenna, I want to give you the last word because we're about to go over.
No, I want to give it to him. Keep going.
All right, I do 20 seconds.
No. Yeah, you're on a roll. Please.
Well, this is going to turn into a TED Talk, man. I can talk about this shit for hours, especially right now.
We need to work on something together.
Set up like a separate show, or if there's something that you need to just rap about, and you can put a clip out there. Even I can go on this for hours, and I'm not gonna. I cannot wrap this up in less than.
Well, we'll have to do mental health and addiction again soon. Then, how about that?
That's a good one.
Oh yeah, that covers everything.
Thank you. Thank you so much for calling in today and sharing sharing everything, and I am really sorry
Yeah.
about everything that's going on. And I hope it
Me
gets better.
too.
I appreciate the love, man. It's okay. Shit happens, and it's not the shit that happens. It's how you deal with it.
Right.
There's going to be more shit that happens in your life than doesn't. So you can't control everything. So the shit's going to happen. Keep your head above water, and you'll see another day.
Thanks, IQ.
Love you guys.
Have a good one.
Love
Yep.
you too.
See.
All right, Jenna, what do you got going on this week?
I spontaneously was forced by grief to take last week off. I was incapable, and I've been scatterbrained. Like I'm not myself today. I don't know if anybody's noticed, and it's because I'm not okay right now. But I do believe that I will be okay for this week. So I'm going to be back doing my meditations in the mornings on Monday through Friday, Genesis on Twitch at 10 a.m. And then I'll be doing my Atheistasis release at 4 p.m. to YouTube on Wednesday, as I do every week. And then Thursday, I'll have Carrot Noises resuming. And actually, as Cindy brought up as a great idea, I might actually do a tribute to Mickey, or a new, like, looking forward with Lucky or something. And then, of course, Ethan and Jenna Show next week, Sunday.
Awesome. And yeah, to echo that, I'm here every Sunday with Jenna Belk. This Tuesday is The Perspective. It's a weekly call-in show where we tackle paranormal and supernatural claims, even, political claims at this point, belief in aliens, conspiracy theories. It will be hosted by Brainbug and Richard Gilliver. And then Thursdays, this Thursday, Hannah and I are skipping the pickup line. So sorry. We'll be back at it next week. When I meet Hannah, we'll most likely be filming something together. So maybe we'll do a in-person pickup line. Who knows? Thank you to our patrons, Kenneth, Leonard, Expresso Cat, Doanya, Kaitlyn Beyond, and Rachel Watson. We appreciate your patronage. And Jenna, it's nice doing this with you as always.
Thanks, Ethan. This is awesome. I'm learning a lot, and I'm glad that y'all are here to support us while we do learn.
Yes. Thank you so much, Jenna, and thank you for everyone who watches the show.